everybody. Let's look at Python developer jobs in the UK. I do these videos every month or two. Before we do that, I just want to show you a map of the UK, if you're not from the UK. So London's capital, that seems to be where most of the jobs are. There's one or two up north. We say up north, although if you look at the actual UK, the UK goes right up to here, but if you live in the south, you'd probably say Manchester was up north. So if you hear me saying up north, it probably means Manchester or Leeds, maybe. Anyway, that's the map of the UK. Stack Overflow, I just want a quick run through of that. The annual developer survey, if you click on United Kingdom, look at the salaries. They're in dollars, but that's not the end of the world. You can see the highly paid jobs are engineering manager, senior executive, blockchain, engineer site reliability, cloud infrastructure engineer. That's quite high, but that obviously covers a multitude of evils. Engineer, data engineer, that's surprisingly high. Yeah, and then down here is sort of scientist, designer, student, blah blah blah. So let's pick somewhere in the middle. Security engineer, data engineer. So even that's saying $100,000, which is current exchange rate, is actually really high paid because $100,000. I don't think they mean pounds there. So yeah, let's have a look at some jobs. Okay, so to back up what I was just saying, just 3 jobs at random. We've got London, Manchester. We just looked at Manchester, that's up here. And we have Brighton, which Brighton is there. So it's close to London. To all intents and purposes, it's the same neck of the woods on if you look at the big picture. So yeah, let's have a look. We've got full stack Python developer / React. Full stack developer. So yeah, even searching for Python, it quite frequently now comes up with full stack developer, software engineer, Bristol. Let's have a look at that. So Bristol, for those of you not familiar with the UK, Bristol is over here. Bristol. So salary, experience dependent, 35,000 to 85,000. Work from home, permanent full-time. Both senior and junior level software engineers, developers are being considered. Minimum experience is 2 years. Fantastic opportunity to join an established, highly successful company that offers security and stability alongside the innovation and excitement of a startup. Sounds good. We're looking for polyglots, so more than one language, with the ability to use multiple languages effectively, Java, Python, C++ as a developer / engineer. Worked in an agile environment using methodologies such as Scrum and Kanban. Willingness to learn and take advantage of the upskilling provided. Knowledge of DevOps. Again, DevOps is cropping up a lot, isn't it? Virtualization, containerization, continuous integration, continuous deployment, and infrastructure as code. Alongside working on interesting projects in a demanding sector, you'll be joining a vibrant and inclusive workplace that looks after its employees. They seek to grow with you, allowing for flexible start times, budgets for training, and matched pension healthcare package. All applicants must be eligible to receive SC clearance. SC clearance, for those of you who don't know, in the UK is where you have to fill in lots of personal details, your family history, where you've lived in the past 10 years, things like that, and references from previous employers and so on. And yeah, they will contact 2 of your former bosses and ask if you are a good person or a good character. And yeah, then maybe a few weeks later you will just hear that you have been accepted or confirmed, cleared. So it's either a yes or no. You're either cleared or you're not cleared. They also check your financial background, because if you have been bankrupt or if you've run up big debts, then they consider that you would be a candidate to be open to bribery, shall we say. So yeah, that's SC clearance for you. 16th of September that was listed, so that's nearly a month ago. So when you're looking at these adverts, it always pays to kind of, yeah, if it's been around for maybe 4 weeks, just check the closing date, because it may have passed and the advert's still just be listed because somebody's forgotten to remove it. Full stack developer remote. Let's have a look at this one. So these salaries probably look high if you're from a country with a poor exchange rate with the British pound. However, as I mentioned earlier, the British government are utterly incompetent. They've crushed the pound, so the value of the pound has gone down. Hence, on a global market, the pound buys less. So we've got inflation. Nominally, they will say we've got inflation of, I don't know, 6, 7, 8, 9%. Reality is that food items have, maybe some food items have gone up by up to 50%. So most things have gone up by maybe 10, 15%. Like a carton of milk has probably gone up from, say, £1 to £1.15, something like that. But other things, coffee, for instance, used to buy coffee for, say, £4 a jar, and now sometimes it's £6 a jar for a large jar. Anyway, I'm not here to moan. I'm just here to explain why some of the salaries may look high, but the reality is you do actually need a high salary now. Nest.js, AWS, Python, RESTful APIs. So really, you need to, if you're starting out and you're watching these videos for the first time, then yeah, I've been working with and looking at Python jobs for maybe 3, 4, 5 years. There's definitely a trend. If you watch some of my previous videos, you'll see that AWS was cropping up more and more, but I would also say that React and maybe front end stuff is just cropping up even more now. You see JavaScript, React, TypeScript, microservices. So there's a thing called a unicorn candidate. I was talking to a recruiter the other day, and a unicorn candidate is basically something that doesn't exist, but something that everyone dreams of. So unicorn candidate would be somebody who knows AWS, Python, RESTful APIs, JavaScript, React, TypeScript, microservices, ETL, data science, so on. So, but with these salaries, there is a lot of competition. So, yeah, there's only going to they only need one person with all those skills to fill that role. So, yeah, I think the lesson is sometimes don't be too ambitious, because sometimes on some of these sites you can actually see how many candidates have applied for the jobs, and often it can be 20, 30, 40, 50 people who've applied for one role. So yeah, I guess kind of be realistic. Obviously be ambitious and try and go high and get a good salary, but at the same time don't kind of pin all your hopes. Don't just think, oh, I've applied for one job and I'm really expecting to get that, because just the numbers game. If you get 50 people applying, it only takes, you could be the second best person out of 50, but if there's one person better than you, then obviously you're not going to get the role. And also, if they set technical challenges, then I've done it before where you know, you can actually spend, one of the technical challenges actually took about 2 days over a weekend to do, and yeah, never heard back. That was an ETL data pipeline kind of, yeah. Looking back, I wasn't a perfect fit for it, but I was just, I was trying my luck. But it was a bit rude that I didn't hear back. So yeah, the other thing, more often than not, if you're not suitable, you just don't hear back. So yeah, don't be put off. Keep trying, keep plugging away. So we're seeing all these Java developer jobs. Let me just scroll down a bit and just see if we can find something a bit more suitable. Database engineer, 35,000. To be honest, if you've got a few years experience behind you, 35,000 is a bit poor these days. So let's go past that. Software developer, public sector, work from home, London. If we click on that, I suspect the UK government, who I dislike intensely, but that's just my opinion. I can give you facts and reasons why if you like, but They are hell-bent on getting people away from working from home. My personal theory is that because they collect so much tax from fuel, people driving their cars, people buying coffees, VAT, and so on and so on, they actually want as many people in offices, and they don't really want people working from home. But this says work from home. Perhaps it's because they're struggling to get staff. Flexible hybrid working from London, Cardiff, Darlington, Edinburgh, Belfast. Salaries dependent on location. So let's just look at the role. Python, JavaScript, Node.js, React. No SQL databases. I can't see any mention of Django, but I would say that's probably the fact they've mentioned no SQL makes me think of MongoDB. The fact they've mentioned Python and JavaScript makes me think there's probably some substantial amount of Django and sort of full stack stuff going on there. Knowledge of working practices such as test-driven development, focusing on automation, continuous integration, and continuous delivery. So yeah, again, you do need all the DevOps skills, really. That's nothing new, maybe, but it's. I think even since I've been doing these videos, which is nearly a year, I think yeah, it's almost like Python is half the job, and the other half is the DevOps and the deployment side of things. But if you get an opportunity to learn that and become good at it obviously it's all to do with automation, and if you can automate stuff, then in the long run it is good. But it just means that it's a kind of a big topic to also have to learn if you're trying to learn Python from scratch. So React. So considering I put in Python developer, it does seem that React is very frequently appearing. Right, let's play a game. Should we see if React crops up in this advert? Just a random one. Okay, JavaScript. So Liverpool is up north, and it's here. So Liverpool, Manchester. So quite often you have jobs up here, London, and across here. So Swansea, Cardiff, Bristol, London. It's a bit of a triangle, really. Here. Skilled with ETL knowledge, Talend. I don't even know what Talend is. That's me out the door, isn't it? SDQ. I don't know what SDQ is either. I thought I knew most of these initialisms, but evidently not. Okay, be one of the first 10 applicants. So there you can see how many people have applied. That's quite a new job. It was listed on the 7th of October, and today is the 19th. So data. There's not many data science roles cropping up. It seems to be data engineer and full stack. Wow, software developer Delphi. That's a blast from the past. That was listed on the 20th of September, so that advert is, wow, Visual Basic, Delphi, WinForms. I don't know what WinForms is, but it sounds really old and it sounds quite rubbish. Okay, here we go. So the business, a global family-run business with a turnover in excess of 3 billion, inspired a development team made up of 60 home-based personnel, an organization that cares about career progression and health and well-being. So yeah, I guess if you've got skills with legacy software and you want to join them and grow, that's probably quite an interesting place to work. Yeah. Legacy language is it's the perfect opportunity for someone that needs a new challenge, wants to be pushed into a new dimension, and someone that enjoys working across large, complex enterprise systems. Oh, there you go. I didn't think I'd see a Delphi and Visual Basic on today's job ads. JavaScript, React. So it seems to be there's plethora of full stack type jobs, and data jobs. So it's almost as if there's forming two distinct major categories here. Team manager, engineering manager. Let's just look at one more page, and then we'll just quickly go back and just have another quick look at the Stack Overflow. So data, 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 web, data, data, web, web. I think if you want to move away from either data or web, you probably need to be looking at some other language. For instance, if you want to do embedded, then maybe look at C or data, business intelligence. Cloud. Technical data software engineer. Let's have a look at this one. Python, SQL, Postgres, Angular, Vue, AWS. So many of the same things cropping up again. Continuous integration, unit testing, BDD, TDD. So BDD is behavioral driven design. TDD is test driven design. REST, GraphQL. I did a video on GraphQL recently and Strawberry. If anyone's interested, I'll try and remember to put the link up here. Microservices, MySQL, Postgres, NoSQL. I did put in developer. I guess if you really want to look at something different, you could try. Let's try architect. So yeah, it's data pipelines, code architect, contract job. Let's have a look at that. So that is using Jenkins, Git, Chef, Python, Ruby, and Chef DSL. Never heard of Chef DSL. Heard of Chef, but not DSL. Here we go. AWS is your TOGAF certification. I know what GAF stands for, but I don't know what the TO stands for. Agile, Lean, Ruby, Ansible, Windows, Unix, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'm starting to glaze over there. Technical architect. It wouldn't be a very good video if I just fell asleep and then the second half of the video was just me kind of on the desk just snoring, but there we go. Docker, Kubernetes, Linux, MongoDB, Airflow, Java, Finance, Front Office. So I think, as I was saying in a recent video, it's almost as if you need to focus on the domain in which you want to work in and then bring up your Python skills to match that domain. So for instance, if you say, for instance, you love Formula One, so learn about telemetry, learn about, I don't know enough about Formula One to comment, but yeah, learn about, say you wanted to design the Formula One car, then learn about, what is it called? The fluid dynamics and the it's all like they do the wind tunnel on the computers now and finite element analysis and stuff like that. And yeah, just learn about the domain and then bring your skills up to match what you're doing within that domain. Otherwise, if you just become good at Python, you may find you just end up in a role where you're just doing something really dull and boring. So find out what domain interests you and then try and tailor your Python skills and your projects to match that. If you just like doing websites, well then there's no problem because you can just do Flask, Django, React, and so on and so on. Probably worth, I think, as I'm actually doing, I'm starting to use WebDoc with a VPS to start up a couple of websites for personal projects. And because you're doing it for yourself, you kind of have a little bit more motivation, and it forces you to do things that you would probably otherwise just not do. But it causes you to have a bit more perseverance, and you think, well, I want to get this website working. I want to get Stripe payment integration working. I want to get the HTTPS enabled. So yeah, WebDoc, bit of a plug for WebDoc. If you want to have a look at them, there's a link in my description. Very fast VPS servers in Europe and North America. You get a IPv4 static IP address starting from, I think it's €1.99 per month. There's a Black Friday deal coming up soon, which I'll put the link for in the description. But yeah, if you want to do web stuff, then yeah, get your own web server, start doing some projects, Django, Flask, machine learning, FastAPI, whatever. But yeah, do it for yourself. Do it for yourself, get it working. To be honest, treat yourself as a startup. Think, right, I am a startup. How do I grow? And if you think, well, I haven't got the skills to do, I don't know, the artistic side of things, well, go on Fiverr, hire somebody for $5 to do you some artwork. If you think I haven't got the skills to do the product design, or you haven't got the skills to do kind of the back-end database, just hire someone. If you've got a really good idea, just develop it yourself. Develop it on a VPS server buy your own domain name. You can buy a domain name now for maybe $10. You get the hosting for $2 a month. So yeah, say for $30, $40, $50 a year, you can start up your own website. Deploy Django, it's free. SSL certificate with certbot is free on WebDoc. To be honest, once you've got, well, say you're selling a mug and you put your nice design of a fast car on it, a fast car, you could then sell that. Once you've sold, say, if it costs you, say, £5 and you sell it for 10, that's £5 profit. You sell 10 of those, well, you only got to sell 10 to pay for your website, and then the rest is in profit. And really, then you just concentrate on growing the business. And yeah, so I'm not saying I've done it, but it's a good ambition. So yeah, I don't know if that's given you some inspiration or food for thought, then this video has been worth watching. If it hasn't, and now you're just thoroughly bored, then I'm sorry about that. And I'll be back next time with something else. So in the meantime, thanks for watching, and see you again soon. See you next time.